So your topic is Jane Elliott. Do you know who she is?
No, should I? I have no idea who Jane Elliott is.
I don't know who that is.
No idea who she is.
So you've never heard of what she has done?
Mm-mm. No.
No, is it bad?
I feel like I should, but I haven't.
That's a picture of her on
Okay.
the screen.
She looks kind of intelligent. She has a portrait. She obviously did something.
Well, just judging by like her glasses and her white hair, you just think, oh, grandma. I should trust her.
She looks like she's in politics. Just 'cause it looks like the photo that they would take.
Oh God.
I mean, the blue-eyed people are the better people in this room. Blue-eyed people are smarter than brown-eyed people.
The blue-eyed people smile.
Is your dad brown-eyed? Yeah. One day you came to school and you told us that he kicked you. He did. Do you think a blue-eyed father would kick his son? Yeah. My dad.
I hope she's being sarcastic.
He's never kicked me. Rick's dad is blue-eyed. He's never kicked him. Rex's dad is blue-eyed. He's never kicked him. This is a fact.
Is this like
Blue-eyed
real?
people are better than brown-eyed people. The blue-eyed people get 5 extra minutes of recess, while the brown-eyed people have to stay in.
That's so rude.
The brown-eyed people do not get to use the drinking fountain. You'll have to use the paper
Is
cups.
this about segregation?
You brown-eyed people are not to play with the blue-eyed people on the playground.
Kind of reminds me of the
Because you
Holocaust.
are not the blue-eyed people.
And so like now all the
The
girls are
brown-eyed
like
people in
getting
this room
upset.
today are going to wear collars so that we can tell from a distance what color your eyes are.
I'm definitely teaching them a lesson on racism.
Everyone but Laurie. You ready, Laurie?
She's really committed to it.
Brown-eyed. You'll begin to notice today that we spend a great deal of time waiting for brown-eyed people.
Oh my god.
The yardstick's gone. Well, okay. I don't see the yardstick. Do you?
Hey, Miss Knight, you better keep that on your desk so if the brown-eyed people get out of hand.
Oh! You think if the brown-eyed people get out of hand, that would be the thing to use? Who goes first to lunch? The blue-eyed people.
She's like
No
brainwashing
brown-eyed
them.
people go back for seconds. Blue-eyed people may go back for seconds. Brown-eyed people do not.
Brown-eyed.
Don't you know?
Oh, they're not smart.
Is that the only reason?
They'll take too much.
It might take too much.
I take too much.
Okay, quietly.
Why don't she like commit to
It
this?
seemed like when we were down on the bottom, everything bad was happening to us. The way they treated you, you felt like you didn't even want to try to do anything. It seemed like Mrs. Elliott was taking our best friends away from us.
What happened at recess? Were 2 of you boys fighting?
Russell called me names and I hit him in the gut.
Oh,
What did you
okay.
call him?
Brown eyes.
You call him brown eyes?
They always call us that. In all of the
Because I know it's like these little kids are dividing themselves from other little kids. Who just kids.
They're
so sad.
Oh, that's just the same way as other people call black people niggers. Yeah.
Is that the reason you hit him, John?
Kid brought up a good point.
I watched what had been marvelous, cooperative, wonderful, thoughtful children turn into nasty, vicious, discriminating little 3rd graders in a space of 15 minutes.
Holy cow.
That made me sad. Immensely.
Okay, so what did you just watch?
Well, at first I thought that this teacher was someone who had gotten in trouble for being really discriminatory. But then I realized, as you saw the reactions of other people watching the video, that that she was actually part of I guess, some sort of study.
An experiment.
It seemed kind of like a social experiment.
I think I watched a little experiment.
By the end, she explained how it was about segregation. And, like, it's just amazing, like, just in those few days, the kids, like, learn from the person, the adult, how they're supposed to act. Because, like, on the first day, they were all really surprised, like, what? That I don't understand that. But by the end, they were the ones starting the fights and stuff.
It's funny with, like, the kids within literally, like, immediately they believed her. Like, no matter what they were taught, they were just like, oh, whatever you said is, like, gospel.
What did you think about the teacher, Jane Elliott, and what she did?
It's interesting what she did. But, I mean, as long as she told them afterwards that what she was, like, telling them was, like, wrong and she was basically lying to them, it's kind of a cool experiment.
I didn't realize it would be that effective.
That's like an ingenious way to like show people like how it like, I don't know, kind of like stupid it is, like childish it is to like have segregation. By like making it like for something as trivial as like the color of your eyes, it just shows like it doesn't like tell you the depth of a person or their intelligence or anything.
I think the way she handled it was what completely convinced the kids, is because she took her authority and her position and usurped it basically, and she was able to convince 20 kids, and something so simple separated all of them.
It's really interesting of her. Like, who is she? Is she a scientist or something? I don't know.
Jane Elliott was a third grade teacher who decided to teach kids a valuable lesson in discrimination after the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. So the school they went to was an all-white, all-Christian school in Iowa, and she's famous for conducting this experiment and has many films and documentaries made about it. She's 82 years old now and still teaches lessons about diversity and works in providing anti-discrimination courses to adults.
Wow. That's pretty impressive.
That's great. I remember my third grade teacher. She was also really, really influential in my life.
Wow. That makes a lot of sense. She seems to be good at it.
How do you think people at the time reacted when they saw this experiment?
They probably met it with a lot of skepticism.
Just kind of like, just a little wake-up call. Or they were kind of angry, or they were like disappointed in themselves.
I feel like there was like that light bulb moment when they realized like this is how stupid it is that like discrimination exists like among like adults. Like watching it like in a third grade classroom, you're just like, wow, that's literally what's happening in the world right now. And like taking like a step back and putting it into perspective, you just realize how dumb it all is.
When this experiment went public, only one teacher continued to speak to Jane Elliott when she returned to school.
Oh.
This quote from a letter said, "How dare you try this cruel experiment out on our white children? Black children grow up accustomed to such behavior, but white children, there's no way that they could possibly understand it. It's cruel to white children and will cause them great psychological damage."
Oh my god. That's just... I don't even know what to say. I don't know, the logic of that is so flawed. I don't even...
That is literally the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. That makes me really mad. Just because like that's like an African American kid's like reality doesn't mean it doesn't affect them any less than a white kid.
That's not fair. I don't like that person who said that.
I mean, ouch, she just kind of proved the point.
Jane Elliott once said, "When white people sit down to discuss racism, what they're really experiencing is shared ignorance." Do you agree? Not agree?
Honestly, that makes sense. I mean, for the most part, they would never understand what African Americans had to go through because they're white. Sorry.
I agree. Especially after watching this. Because I kind of forget even myself, like, talk about it, but we don't even know what we're talking about.
I kind of agree with that.
Well, I mean, like, before this video, I would have said no, because, I mean, you always think that I can empathize easily, that I can understand where they're coming from. But I mean, watching this video and seeing that these kids, how much it truly affected these kids, I mean, we can never understand. Especially when when you're white and when you have never had that problem before. Because I mean, the only way that you're going to be able to change something is to have people themselves understand. And so this was proof that we don't understand.
Do you think xenophobia and racial discrimination are still big problems in America?
I don't really know what the first word
Can you define xenophobia?
Xenophobia is like the fear of like foreign people.
Oh.
There are those people that you see in like the deep, deep south that are like still flying their Confederate flags and you're kind of worried for them.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think it's at a greater scale, or if it is, we lie about it and say it's not. Who is Donald Trump?
Well, it's definitely improved the situations, but I don't know, there's still that stigma. You know how some people are like, oh, you have that token black friend? Like, I feel like if discrimination truly wasn't a problem anymore, that wouldn't even be a thing.
I don't think they're as big as they were back then, and I think they've evolved. I think it's just moved into more thinking of them not necessarily as like not human, but just in the sense like almost like dirty humans, if that makes sense. The big stereotype is ghetto, like a ghetto person. And so I think that it's still there. It's just not necessarily in the sense that someone would ever say it because everyone's so against racism, but it still happens in your mind. And that's honestly, that's where it matters.
That is me. I'm so happy.
Alright, if you want to sit in this nice comfy chair,
If you want to see your face up here,
If you want to be on Reverb, be interviewed by Sammy, and watch these cool videos,
contact Samantha Daley. I don't know her contact information.
email her at sdaley@holynamestpa.net.
it's really a lot of fun.